Welcome to Boosted Motorsports. Behind me, I've got a 2026 Dodge Charger Scat Pack with the 6-pack inline 6 Hurricane HO. So if you guys haven't seen the last video, welcome to my shop. We do a lot of crazy things here. This is a 68 bodied Charger with a Hellcat swap, so we've got that going on. But the focus is this. We have, I'm not exaggerating, about 45 days to turn this full production car into a race car. So here it is here. If you guys don't know a little bit about me, we do all sorts of crazy swaps, Hellcat swaps. We've Hellcat swapped a bunch of Ram trucks, Dodge trucks, pretty much anything and everything. There's another swap here. And this here is last year's Roadkill Nights entry. So we did this last year with Dodge along with a bunch of partners, and we put this inline 6 Hurricane into our Dodge Viper ACR. So you can see it here with the turbo kit that we designed and fabricated here in-house. Made for a ton of fun, and we had lots of fun with engaging with lots of you guys with this car, and it's no joke. This thing made a ton of power. So over 900 at the wheels, and it just loved it. We didn't do anything. The engine has never been opened before. Nothing crazy happens. It took a beating. We were two-stepping it pretty much anywhere and everywhere. Wherever somebody said hit it, we hit it, and the engine just took it.
Hey, one more.
So for this year's contest, Dodge has sent me along with 7 other contestants. There's supposed to be a total of 8 that received a full car. So I have not done anything to this car yet. I kind of wanted to show you guys this. Last week, I introduced you guys to the project. This week, we're gonna start to dive into it. I had a bunch of stuff that I had to get done on this thing. This customer build car, it's about to go off for paint, so I just had to get a bunch of stuff buttoned up on it. We actually ended up putting in a lower mile and newer Hellcat engine for the customer, so that's what that is over there. I kind of teased you guys with some stuff, but now I've got a Hellcat swap that I could potentially throw in something. But yeah, this is about to go off. I want to point this out real quick, and then we'll get into today's video. The styling cues of this 68, don't look at the taillights because 68 was a 1-year only deal, but the way that this dovetail shape comes through here, they really did a good job at kind of bringing a lot of those styling cues into it. You can see this hard body line right here and kind of this flat edge right here as it goes out the back. This has a lot of the same cues, as you can see. You can see these windows here and kind of the similar shape there. I know some people might argue against that, but as far as the way this kind of comes out into this cone shape, it has a lot of the same cues. That kind of mimics the 69 taillights, but you can see there the back of them look very similar. But yeah, here's the car. We got turned into a race car. I got to shed a bunch of weight out of this thing and pretty much get rid of any unnecessary stuff. So the purpose of this video is we're going to start to tear into this thing. Brand new 2026. We got a 2026 Dodge Charger, and it is still 2026, and we are taking this car apart. So we're going to see how this thing goes together. You guys are going to come along with me for the adventure. And I'm sure a lot of people, along with myself, are excited to see the performance that we can get out of this chassis with this engine. We've seen the potential of the engine, but nobody's done it in this chassis. So that's our goal for this year, and I think I'm a pretty good candidate to show you guys that based on what we did last year. As far as stuff, I haven't really taken anything off it other than the engine covers off, and then I just took off this little heat shield deal right here before grabbing the camera. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start tearing into this thing, start getting all of some of these accessories and bits out of the way, just so we can kind of see what we've got, what kind of area we've got to work with, and kind of the bare bones. So I'm gonna start removing some stuff, and we'll see how far we get. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys what I've dismantled so far. So took off the windshield wipers, of course. So I took off that strut tower bar there. That's a hefty piece. Windshield wipers. Then I took off the cowl here. I wanted to kind of show you guys a couple interesting things. So these are like little rain ducts that go there and right there, and then it dumps it outside of the engine bay. It has it on both sides. So this one on the passenger side is a little bit longer, and then there's these foam pieces that kind of trim out a bunch of things. And then there's these guys. There's a lot of reinforcement on this chassis. So we already took off the strut tower bar, and then we've got all this bracing underneath this. So I'm gonna continue to remove a lot of this bracing. So we've got a 10 mil, and then it's like a little mini strut tower bar almost right there. So tons of rigidity in here, but I'm gonna make this thing easy to work on for our racing purposes. So take off these two 10 mils, and then I'll show you guys how these all come out. There's just more bracing and whatnot in there that we're gonna remove. All right, another little update. So we've got all the reinforcement bar, or bars I should say, off. There's that. This piece bolts down on the one side, and then that heat shield. Surprisingly, the heat shield part is on the opposite side. And it's actually on this side where the heat exchanger or whatnot is, right there in that back corner. So, and I also took off the windshield wiper assembly. So 2 10 mil bolts. And then what I'm working on right now, this piece here, it's held on by a bunch of speed clips, but I will tell you, they are in there good. So there's that. And then I'm just getting the exhaust off. So you're gonna only have to disconnect the secondary O2 sensors. That's how that kind of all fits in there. I'm gonna lift the car up and then take out this downpipe, and then I should be able to hopefully get the other 13 mil bolt there. It does have this little latch here on the back. Probably makes it easier to install, but trying to get it off is a bugger. This is latched on the other side of the V-band, and it kind of makes it a little harder, but you take the bolt out, and then you can spread the two and take them off. So I'm gonna drop that one out, and then I should be able to have more room to get to that bottom bolt there. Okay, so got the two downpipes out of there. Definitely have to wiggle and a jiggle, but there's so much room for activities once you remove those. So they go on this bracket right here, and it has this lip, so you kind of have to lift it up and over. I don't know that you could take the bottom one out without taking the top one. I guess, I don't know. You guys comment down below if you've ever done it, but yeah, probably is possible, but it's, yeah, they're kind of both intertwined in there. So that's that. I'm gonna take this bracket off. And check this out, kind of interesting. The engine mounts appear to have some sort of active dampening to them. So there's that one there, and then that one over there. So if you guys are curious of the lay of the land here, I've got this disconnected here, but front drive shaft is right there on the passenger side. You got your transfer case here, and then packed up and in here, you have your drive shaft. This transmission mount is massive. Like, that thing is huge. It's the size of a large pizza, maybe even bigger than a large pizza, an XL for sure. So did they ever make those pizzas? You guys remember back in the 90s when I was a kid, they used to have like a big square pizza? Is that even a thing anymore? Comment down below. It's like the size of that, one of those big party size square pizzas. Yeah, so that's pretty much that part of it. Let me take these brackets off. I'm gonna start disconnecting some of this, get to the Bellhousing bolts. I think we should be able to get to our converter bolts and start getting ready to yank this whole assembly and see what we're working with. Okay, another little update. So right now I am draining the auxiliary cooling system, the one for the turbos. That's the best place that I found to drain it. There's a radiator drain right there. I mean, there might be one on the front, but I doubt it. If you guys have a better spot to drain, let me know. But I just disconnected that hose there. That's the lower hose. If we go over here, I also took off the lower underbody, I guess, shield. And then through here, I managed to get, there's a steel bracket, which is right there out. And then I'm trying to get the starter out so that I can get the flex plate bolts out, but I can't seem to get it out. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of running into the back of the engine mount. So I think the only way to get it out is to go up. And in order to get it up, the intercooler or heat exchanger, whatever you want to call it, is above it, so that's why I'm draining the coolant here. Here's the pump for it, if you guys are curious. So this pump, that's the lower hose. It runs all the way to the front there. That's the one I'm draining. That runs when you turn the car off, so that I can keep cycling coolant through the turbos over there. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm trying to, my goal is to take the transmission out today. So that's kind of what we're working on here. Let's see how far we get. Okay, that's as much coolant as it appears wants to drain out of that for now. So I'm trying not to get rained on, so to speak. So now I'm gonna go over here to the pump, disconnect this quick fitting right here, and I'm assuming there's gonna be some coolant on the other side of this, and I'm gonna try to not get a coolant shower is the goal. All right, so I took out the pump. I wouldn't say that I gained a whole lot more fluid coming out, taking the pump out versus not. Taking the pump off of the lower line though, because of, I guess, the way it's routed uphill. And you can see it just kind of dripping out of the cooler up top. So I think we should be safe to go up there and disconnect it. It's probably gonna continue dribbling a little bit here, but it is what it is. All right, we are up top here, and the two turbos feed in through the top here. I started to disconnect the upper line, so that's the upper. The bottom we already disconnected from the pump, and then this goes over to here, so the turbos feed in through there, cools the air, and then it comes around this elbow and into the throttle body. But I cannot get my hand down in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and take off at least part of the air cleaner assembly, and then these here, these pop up, and then those are basically quick disconnects. So that one there, this one down there, we'll have to get a little pick into. You can see here we drained just the auxiliary cooling system. The engine cooling system still has coolant in it. So let's go ahead, disconnect some of the stuff and see what else we find. Okay, let's see how this comes apart. So air temperature sensor, 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and then the lid comes off. There, I only saw the one bolt right there for the base of the air cleaner. So I'm gonna see if maybe there's one hiding in the bottom underneath the filter. It might just be a grommet, but let's see. Okay, 2 grommets, so I just don't want to break anything. But if we pull it, oh, might need a little WD Sendy on that, because that is in there. But yeah, 2 grommets on the bottom, and then we'll get this box out of here. So 2 rubber grommets, and that screw there, and that comes off, and then this one, there is a little post that's sitting on, and then you got your band clamp right there. And then this resonator box. If you guys are wondering what this is, that's a resonator. Makes your intake quieter. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. All right, this is opening up quite a bit of room. And we'll put this off to the side. Taking off this elbow. So disconnected the sensor there, that's a map sensor. And then pop this clip out of place. And then it's a 8mm band clamp on the throttle body. These will kind of stay in place. So you go like this and then you push them over. And that's how you can get them to stay in the released position so that you can get it off. So that's off and out of the way. And now I should have enough room to start wiggling and getting that cooler out of there, I hope. Okay, so removing this part of the air system. So you got this plug here. You squeeze these 2 yellow tabs. This Christmas tree clip out of there, and then there's, I think there's, yeah, there's one more back there that we gotta get. These 2 here, they have the red locking tabs, and then once the red locking tabs come out, you have to carefully open these up. The way I do them is kind of get these ears, lift them up, and then this little bump is gonna get stuck, and you have to help it pass. They're not exactly fun, but it is what it is. And then these, same thing, the little wire clip, and then it pops off. And then this will be able to come out. Woo! All right, got the cooler out. 4 bolts, 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4 right there. Hold it in, but then see these optional like provisionings? There's a bracket down there that attaches to one of those. There's a whole lot of stuff in there. And then this line, for whatever reason, this shares with the cooling system. It says to engine, so let's see where this one goes. Oh no, it does go to this reservoir. So we're good to disconnect that. It's just the bleeder for there, but it says to engine. It just kind of threw me off guard on the back side of this right here. It says engine right there. So disconnect that, and then I am finally able to get my starter motor out. You can see kind of what I was struggling with there is trying to pull it backwards, and then I was hitting the engine mount that also holds the front differential assembly deal, and I couldn't go up and I couldn't go back, and I was just kind of stuck even though I had all the bolts out. So let me get this out of the way, clean this mess up a little bit, and then we'll get the starter out. Then we can get our flex plate bolts out of there, and then we can start pulling that transmission. Okay, managed to get the starter motor out of there, but at least on my unit, it was in there tight. I had to use a little persuader. I might try those 2 bolts that are on the back of the starter. These ones were just ever so slightly dragging. Enough to make it stuck in there though. You had to persuade it to get it out. So like I said, don't know if you guys will experience the same thing, if it's a supplier with the starter motor being slightly off, but she was in that small little area, but I did eventually get it out. So that's that, and now we're gonna go ahead and I just finished getting out the converter bolts out through the starter hole right there, and now we should be able to take the transmission out. All right, just finished taking off the transmission mount. This thing is massive. I guess transfer case mount all in one. But this thing probably weighs a good 30 pounds. It's huge. But we got it out of there, and then now we got the transmission jack. I'm gonna lower it down slightly, and then there's so many connectors and Christmas tree clips all on this thing. So I got the lines disconnected. I can't quite get them out until we drop down a bit more. We'll kind of just keep an eye on things, lower it down, and just kind of get things unraveled, and then take out the remaining transmission bolts. Hey, transmission is out and coming down with the transfer case on it. I will tell you guys, I almost forgot this, but I kind of somewhat remembered it, and I didn't have my engine in my Viper configured stock, so it was slightly different. But you have to, this sounds crazy maybe, but comment down below what you guys think. You have to support the front of the engine. You have to pick it up. This thing is really front heavy, the engine. So like when I took this transmission mount out, there's so much front weight that it almost was picking up the transmission. Like it was just floating back here, and with the transfer case attached. So you start loosening off the transmission bolts, and you'll find that things start binding. And I had to put one of those support stands, which I'll show you guys in a second, at the front of the engine to support it and pick it up, so that I could easily get the transmission off. So anyways, this is quite the transmission setup here, but let me lower it down and we'll get it out of here. All right, well, there is the transmission with transfer case out and down on the ground. So that was our mission for this episode, and now this thing is ready to go. All right, so that's gonna do it for the first, I guess, working episode of this series, and tearing down and dismantling this 2026 Dodge Charger Scat Pack. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below as far as working on this thing. I don't know if anybody's really posted too much at the making of this video on these, but if you guys like the content, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and we're essentially putting these cars through the torture test so that you guys that go out and purchase them don't have to, and you can see the trials and tribulations and see what kind of performance we can squeeze out of these things for you guys. So anyways, make sure you subscribe. See you guys on the next video.